We'll just give it a couple of more minutes before we start the webinar. I think it's time, so let's begin. Well, hello again, and welcome to this webinar presentation from Rajant on municipalities. My name is Sagar Chandra, and thank you for all of you. We have a nice group of people who have signed up today. You will notice that all the attendees are on mute. And but should you have any questions or comments, please use your chat button and type away your question or comment. I'm joined today by Diane from our marketing department. So if I miss what you're typing, then she will be able to catch it and alert me of any questions or comments you may have. I see we have some of our friends from Latin America. Buen día, buenas tardes, ¿cómo están? Yo hablo español, pero voy a hacer la presentación en inglés. Si desean en español, yo puedo hacer una solamente en español mañana. So let's continue. I hope you can all see my slides right now. We're on the agenda slide right now. The agenda is very simple. We'll just look at some market opportunities, generally speaking, that we have been able to gather and research based on our intelligence and work, compared also with information that we were given by our partners. I have two examples of Rajant in municipalities, and then we'll just go over some of the points about why Rajant is being looked at, and we are doing a lot of design work and upcoming installations in this industry. And then just a couple of pointers. We did a similar webinar earlier, and we were asked for some details on, okay, I've never worked in municipalities. How do I go about doing this? And then finally, any questions, any comments, suggestions you may have. I'm just quickly going to look at the chat, just in case there's anything specific. This webinar is being recorded, and it will be available on our website. I have contact details and other things at the end of this presentation, so in case there's something else or you have any difficulties, you can always contact directly to Rajant. So the vertical market, what is the size of the opportunity? This is some details, and as I mentioned, some data that we have from research done. If you're looking at a city that has 2 million population, between all the different departments and particular areas in the city, you look at the water department, the police department, transportation, electricity department, those things. These are the average numbers that we have seen. Of course, these numbers vary depending on which country you're in, which city you're in. But these are good ballpark figures to have an idea of the size of the opportunity. And it is an impressive opportunity. I think that shouldn't be 12,000. That should be 1,200. So I'll correct that. I think I got happy with seeing all the zeros. I added an extra zero at the total there. Sorry about that. But if you look at an average city, you're looking at anywhere from 1,200 to more than 3,000 nodes. And where these particular opportunities are in the water department, the police department, transportation. Buses are the typical points of interest, and the electricity department. And talking about electricity department, this is one of the specific examples that I have. So we have a U.S. city, and again, just because of confidentiality and the project is ongoing right now, let's leave it as a U.S. city. The electricity department is looking at connecting their substations and the microwave tower. So these are existing infrastructure and equipment that the city has, and they need a better connection, wireless connection, so that they can monitor these things in real time. The size of the coverage, when you look at the extremes of where these substations are located, we're looking at 12 miles north-south and 7 miles east to west. So a fairly decent geographic area. They have some existing network that they are not happy with because of reliability, scalability, and that's why Rajant was asked by one of our partners to actually go in and do a design. So we spent quite a bit of time driving around the city and looking at where we would do the installation, what kind of coverage we will have, ensure that Rajant can deliver a scalable, stable network. So right now we're looking at a system of 33 breadcrumbs. And this is I've seen some of the photos, and this is in the middle of a neighborhood. So you have poles that have good height, good visibility. There are some installations on the rooftops, on side of buildings. Busy environment, but with the Rajant solution, we have been able to confirm the delivery of a network that is stable and scalable. A second example, and this is only in the design stage right now. This is in Chile. This is in a small, city outside of Santiago, and we're looking at one end user who is interested in connecting all these cameras. And of course, they don't want to have fiber going through all this, and they're looking at a wireless network. So this is where Rajant came in. Some of you may understand the challenge of having video transmitted wirelessly, but the solution we have looked at, which is the LX5 model of Rajant and the ME4 model of Rajant, is perfectly suited to manage video along with data and voice should they decide to add. So these are two specific examples in municipalities. The numbers are not that, I mentioned 1,200 to more than 3,000. We're looking at less than 100 here. But this is, again, a very good first step to begin to have success in a municipality. So the typical question is, well, why Rajant? Rajant traditionally has been known, for those who may not know, we've been in business for 15 years. We started with the military, armed forces, mining, and our strength has been anything in any industry where there is equipment that is moving or where it's a challenging environment for networks, Rajant has a better solution. So we're a multi-antenna, multi-frequency, multi-mesh connection type of a solution that we offer. So why Rajant in municipalities? Well, this is my first point. Multi-frequency, multi-antenna. We always have a redundant network. The functional node-to-node meshing, which is any radio on the Rajant network will speak and communicate with any other radio. That's one of the key features and benefits that end users appreciate. Just as you read here, there's no need for fiber at every fixed node, as an example of Chile and other examples in other countries. The end user does not have to go and connect every single point physically with a cable. The mobile connectivity, this is really what puts Rajant at an advantage. We have a protocol that is patented and especially designed and written to manage equipment that make and break connections all the time. This could be for various reasons. They're moving, but let's say in a municipality, of course, you're not going to have substations that are moving around or cameras on an intersection. But connections can be made or broken for various other reasons. You could have a storm that goes through, power gets cut off, antennas get broken or moved for whatever reason. Maintenance work gets done, and then someone forgets to connect some part of the cable. So what Rajant offers is multiple ways that the data can always be sent and received back at the central office. One network for all, this is a very, we often realize a lot of our customers and partners start using Rajant for one particular reason, They want to control a substation. They want to monitor, the health of an equipment in real time. And then slowly they realize, oh, can we do more? Can we add this? Can we add another application? Can we add a camera? And the answer is yes, because the network is scalable. So these are some of the reasons why Rajant is, beginning to be more and more involved in municipalities. In mining, we're strong. Transportation, we're getting more involved. Some of you may have seen this from my colleagues or me. In a traditional network, there's always a backhaul, which is shown by the red line. And then there are all the equipment or the clients that are connected to this. And if something goes wrong on a critical point, then those units, those radios are not able to communicate back to the central office. With Rajant, with the Instant Mesh protocol, each line represents a connection between one radio and another. And you could have 2, 3, 4, depending on the model that we're using and the frequencies that are available. So in this particular example, the reason you see 4 lines is between point A and point B is the 2 radios have an option of communicating in any of those 4 frequencies. And for the municipalities, the 2 examples I mentioned, we are actually, the one in the U.S. and the one in Chile, we are, the city asked that we use the license-free frequencies available, so 2.4 and 5.8. Of course, that means that we have to be ready for interference on 2.4, as you can imagine, Wi-Fi everywhere on people's houses and restaurants. But we also have options where if the end user has access to a licensed frequency, say 4.9, then those, we have different models that can be used in this installation and in the project. But the basic concept here is, as most of you probably know already, is that if there is interference on, let's say, 2.4, the protocol will switch automatically to the second frequency that's available, 5.8, and start transmitting on that. In this particular case, the protocol and each radio has the option of transmitting on either of those, any of those 4 frequencies. And as equipment moves, the protocol automatically updates the connections. This is a view of a management tool that is always, installed and made available with a Rajant network. It's known as BC Commander. And the idea here is just to show you that we offer a tool to help the end user, help our partners, and help Rajant monitor what's happening in the network, make changes to the configuration and the setting. And you can, of course, use other off-the-shelf tools to monitor what's happening in your network, but this is something that Rajant makes available for its use, for the use with the radio, with the Rajant breadcrumbs. This is not an application that you need to keep running 24 hours a day. This is simply a tool that you use when you need it, and you don't need to keep it running. So there is no central controller. There is nothing like that with the Rajant network. Give it energy, and once it's configured, it will just keep making new connections. So far we've talked about the vertical market, 2 specific examples of Rajant in municipalities. Why Rajant? If there are any questions, please type away, or you can wait till the end and type your questions. So I just have a couple of more slides to go through, and so this was a request made to us by one of our partners from our last webinar. Is they're targeting municipalities for the first time, and they were curious as to how other Rajant partners have had success. So we've had the opportunities that I mentioned. The 2 of them are just 2 of more opportunities that are going on globally with the Rajant team and the Rajant partners. The approach is very, it is in a way very straightforward. Is that you can, if you have access to the department themselves, you can contact them directly. Or almost all of these cities are required to put a to make public their intention to invest. So there's always a way that our partners who have been working with municipalities or are thinking about working to be aware of an upcoming investment. And one of the things I always like to do is I always like to know what their challenge has been. So, asking the question, well, what didn't work for you the last time always will help you explain the solution instead of selling the Rajant product itself. That, obviously it doesn't make sense to start talking about the product without knowing how we can help solve the issue for the end user. So to summarize, the reason Rajant is being asked more and more to be involved in municipalities and projects like this is because of the fact that we are scalable, one network for all, data, video, voice as well. The same box can be configured to offer Wi-Fi, for example. And as the end user wishes to add more applications, they can add it on the existing Rajant network. So besides municipalities, we're in the industries listed at the bottom there: transportation, ports, mining. I'm sure a lot of the participants today are just not only focused on one industry, but various. So I will leave you with my contact details before I start taking any of the questions. Again, our website will have the recorded webinar, and for any additional questions, there's a contact button on the website, or you can contact me directly. Okay, so there's one question here. Is there a limit to the number of nodes on the Rajant network at this municipalities? No, there is no limit. The largest installations we have, which are not in municipalities, but the ones I'm aware of, have more than 400 nodes in one specific area. So, and according to the configurations and the development team, there's a setting in our BC Commander tool where one radio can connect. The factory setting is it can connect to 250 other radios, whether it's an ME4 or an LX5. But that is a variable that can be changed. So the short answer is no, there is no limit. We haven't seen a limit yet, but there is no limit. There's another question here. I think the question must have come earlier. It's about which frequencies were used. I explained that in these two instances, they were in 2.4 and 5.8, but we have models available in different frequencies. There's a question here about, do the veterans support any automation protocols? Dan, I see your question. I don't have the answer to that, but I will check with the development team and get back to you. We have support, in case you were talking about supporting applications that are automated, autonomous, things like that. Yes, we have experience with that, but I'm guessing your answer is a little bit more different than what I just answered. So I will get back to you, Dan. Thank you. Just reading the next question. So the question is from Carlos, considering what I said about sell the solution, not the product, what would be the most common scenario that Rajant solutions help to solve? So the most frequent are, well, obviously it's outdoor. The most frequent are any industry where there is equipment in motion. So this could be trucks in a mine, for example. This is buses in a city. Trains, we just did a trial in Chile with the metro. So any industry where they have equipment in motion, people who are walking around in a forestry where there's equipment, there's people, interaction, there's issue with safety. Those are absolutely the number one reason why customers call us, end users call us. And the second is when you look at environments where it is difficult to maintain a stable network. So ports, plants, this is manufacturing plants where whether it's indoor or outdoors, but where they need to control and monitor the equipment, but also even simple things like Wi-Fi as an added benefit. And municipalities. So, we're talking about an outdoor environment. As I mentioned, the substations, this equipment are not moving. They're fixed, they're installed, but there's an immediate need to have real-time monitoring of what's happening with those substations. So we have a number of examples where electricity, I forget the right word, I think substation is the right word. They need to be able to control them where they can turn it on or off and monitor the status of those remotely. So one way is to have fiber optics and running to every single location. Not practical, and when fiber optic cables break, you know the cost of maintaining those. So for the past minimum 5 years, probably more than that, we have seen a lot of requests coming in saying, can Rajant be used to connect these equipment in real time? Pumps are also, lots of pumps are being connected and monitored in real time. Sorry, just to scroll through some of the questions. Yes, this presentation and the audio will be saved. I mentioned that I'm happy to do a webinar in Spanish. I will send, actually, Dan, maybe you can help me send an email to the group, and we'll set up a time for tomorrow. And if that doesn't work, I can do at another time on Friday or next week. There was a question about any case study with video surveillance. We have a trial that we did, an installation, that we did in Philadelphia with the police department. We have videos. I just need to check on how much of it we can share, just because of if there's any footage or anything that we may not be allowed to share. But yes, we do. 4.9, there was a question about 4.9 is available. Yes, we have models on that are available with 4.9. The LX5, and I apologize, I should have included a slide about the different models. The LX5 is the Rajant model, breadcrumb model, which is available with up to 4 frequencies and 6 antennas. ME4 is the second model that is available that offers 2 frequencies and up to 4 antennas. So 4.9 is available on the ME4. I just need to verify. As you saw on the slide, we're just waiting for some approvals on the 4.9. I'll confirm if we already have it or we're about to get it. There was a question about Rajant in Mexico. Absolutely. We have an active user today in Mexico. And Rajant's policy, the way we do business is, we partner with local companies in each country. This helps the end user, your customer, to contact you at your time, speak your language, and Rajant is available as a second and third tier support always. So when our partners who are certified in Rajant, they get a question from the municipality or the city or a port that says, hey, I want to do this, and the partner is not able to help, Rajant is always there to support you. In Mexico, we have a number of products that are in use today. Roberto, I'll send you some details. And as new products, of course, as new products are available from Rajant, we work with our partners to say, what is the process to make sure that we can import them, by complying with all the rules and regulations. Charlie, there's a question. Charlie asked a question about mining industry. We have 65 mining customers worldwide that use Rajant. This is in every country you can think of, Charlie, where there are mines. Rajant is there. U.S., Canada, Mexico, Chile. Peru, Brazil, Australia, South Africa, Chile. I can send you some details about Rajant specifically in mining. Petroleum fields, yes, we have a large installation monitoring 400 pumps right now, and we're in the design process for a couple of more oil and gas customers. So, Charlie, I'm assuming your question is oil and gas, could be oil and gas field or offshore platform, and Rajant has been used in both instances. I will send you some details on that. Yes, we have a distributor focused for Central and South America. Carlos, I'll send you details on that. And there's another question here. Okay, so the question is, can we have this presentation and the slides in Spanish? I will gladly, actually we have a translation company that we use. My Spanish, I would say is 10th grade Spanish. I can translate a lot of it, but I will need the help of our partners to correct any mistakes I make. So I can speak very well in the present. Hablo muy bien en el presente, pero tengo problemas con diferentes temas o palabras técnicas. Necesito su ayuda en traducir algunas partes, pero sin problema te voy a enviar la presentación. Okay. So those are all the questions I have. I'll just quickly repeat two things that I have on my list to get back to. Dan, I will get back to you with the question about automation protocol. And to Carlos and Charlie, I will send you the additional slides and the presentations. I'm doing my best to speak slowly because I don't want to speak too quickly. So if I have confused anybody or if I didn't answer your question, please let me show you my email and phone number, all on WhatsApp. And let's see, just one last question maybe coming in. I think that those are all the questions. So thank you very much. I appreciate all your time. Muchas gracias a todos. Oh, one more. And sorry, Diane, the presentation, you have all the emails, so we can email them out, right? Or do they download it from our website?
We can get in touch with everyone through email.
Okay, great. So we'll email those the presentation in English, and I'll email the presentation in Spanish to nuestros amigos. Just need a little bit of time to translate that properly. And then we have our distributors who also I rely on to help with the translation. So thank you. Any other questions, please send an email or call. Otherwise, thank you so much for your time, and I look forward to speaking with you on our next webinar. Thank you.